Hello guys and welcome to another video. Today we have here a Alfa 33, the last series of it, with a 1.5 liter boxer engine, the 8 valve one, and it has a crank no start. The car came from another workshop. It was stopped for about 1 year, 1 year and a half, and it was running, and they were checking out for a problem with the oil pressure light was flickering when the car was at idle, and the car came here for that. But as I soon put a new battery in and try to crank the engine, it does not start at all. It just cranks and cranks. It does some backfires from the exhaust, and I think that maybe is something wrong with the ignition timing, okay? So on this video, we will check that out to see if we can crank the car to run, and then possibly on the next video, do a video for the light, for the engine oil light that is on. Usually that happens a lot on these engines, and I have a tip or two for that, okay? First things first, you want to know if you have gasoline and if you have spark. Well, the car having the symptom that it has, of course it will have gasoline. If not, the backfires and misfires were not present, and if you did not have spark, it also will not do that symptom. But we will test that anyway, at least the spark, to make sure that I'm not missing anything, okay? The sensor, the oil switch, it is below there on the distributor area, and possibly they did a wrong assembly here on the distributor. But at first glance I'm not entirely sure. So yes, we do have spark, which is nice. The battery is running low, but I'm charging it already. So normally the ignition order or any engine without being a boxer engine, 1342, okay, on any 4-cylinder engine, 1342, but on this boxer engine is 1432. So next over here, what you want to do, may want to do, is to check for TDC if the spark goes to the number 1 cylinder, to see if the distributor is on the right spot. For that, I have here 36 to spin the crankshaft over there. Then I have a hole down there to see the markings OT or O or T, and I will take out here this distributor cap. Down on the side over here on the distributor, I have a connector with 3 wires. That is where it lies the RPM sensor, and I know that is working because if it wasn't, it was not producing any spark, okay? And for that, also here the module is working, and also here the coil. So having spark, everything regarding here the ignition is working correctly, just not on the correct order. In this way also I can see if the rotor spins to the left or to the right. It may not be very easy to put in, but sometimes I can, some other times I cannot. If not, I can spin the engine with a gear, for example, and I will see on this hole over here a marking TDC. Then if everything is okay on TDC, this rotor arm should be pointing to the hole itself, if I recall correctly. In some cases, if you are patient enough, you can also spin the engine like this. Sometimes you have to wait for the compression to go away, but you can do it. Okay, so I have the T over there. You cannot see it. I have the T, I have the arrow, and I have the rotor arm pointing to the hole. So it is not misaligned. Now I will have to check out the ignition order. I cannot recall right now, and I'm making a huge mess on my head because of that. But this first part is good. So you have it. So this spins to the right, so 1 3 4 2 4 1 3 2 4 1 3 2 4. Yeah, it overlaps over there. So the drawing was a little bit misleading, but here we have it. This is number 1, this is number 3, then number 2, and number 4 back to 1, okay? But what I'm seeing over here is I possibly have to rotate here the cap a bit to be really on that, to try to get it better, get it right. If it still has the same issue, I will try there with a little bit of spray, because I may have rotten fuel. Odd, strange. I do have here a smell of exhaust on the backside of the car, so gasoline may not be a problem. So doing here a shunt on the relay for the fuel pump. This one. I can see clearly here 3.5 bar almost, which means that I have no issues with the fuel pressure. And the injectors being like this, with this odd pattern spray, it means that they may have a problem with the injectors themselves. So they may be tired or something, or the relay itself may be tired. Not to damage the battery. But I will send them out to be tested before any repairs, and go from there. I also saw that the compression of the engine is very good, 10 to 12 bars on each cylinder, which is very nice. The timing of the engine is also perfect. No issues there. We already saw there the spark, it is also correct. So yes, all seems to indicate that I have problems with fuel. Also here the spark plugs, they seem recent, but I have one or two, well, almost all of them are very odd. When I was checking for resistance, they are all very odd. And this one especially, it's like this. I think for lack of fuel, I believe. What do you guys think? Okay. So let's go from there. Check out here the injectors. 4 new spark plugs. I think is for the best. And see if it runs. I did already test them for resistance. That is very easy to do. Just 15 ohms each of the 4 or 5 or 6 or 8 injectors that we have. Okay, on this style of injectors, that is. Finally, I know what's happening with this, and it was my fault, partially, okay? Now, as you can see, the injectors are way better, but the problem was not there. The car still not starts. Now, what I tried to do on the first steps of the video was to make sure, because I know that someone took out the oil sump and the water and possibly the oil pump, and the oil pump also runs here the distributor. And I thought, well, maybe they spin around the distributor, that it's why it's doing this exact symptom. And for the life of me, I assure you that I tried to see that on point, and I showed you, okay, the T of TDC, okay? And yes, I know that you have 2 chances of catching it, and I tried to make sure that the markings were correct. I really did, okay? And now, okay, let's do everything again. Let's start everything again, and by pure magic, the rotor arm is not pointing what it should be. It's 180 degrees off. And yes, I could take out, and I took out the distributor, but it is off center, so I cannot put the other way around. But I can do here on the cap, I can switch them around and play with it to get it running, because I want to see if this engine has bad con rods or oil pump or whatever it may be. Okay, I'm finally getting in the groove over here, and Jesus, I also was sick for a little while. That is not an excuse, by the way, but it is what it is. And I just tried to get here with a clean mind and a clean thinking, because a lot of stuff was really sketchy, like the spark plugs, for example. Very sketchy. This cover, for example, here was not in place, and it is all mangled up. A lot of stuff that was sketchy. Now let's turn this around. Well, I cannot turn this around, but let's turn the wires around. So number one now is 180 degrees off. So instead of being right here, well, instead of being right here, it has to start here and then the other ones. Okay, let's see if we can do that, at least temporarily, to see if the engine starts and how it starts. Okay, now I will let this loose because I want to adjust it if possible, if necessary. Do not forget the connector. Now I have to check the order again, but this will be number one for sure. This turns to the right? Yes, it does. See if the cap is on place. This is temporary, okay. Now I have to check out the ignition order, cannot recall. So I have here 1, 3, 2, 4. So 1, 3 are on that side, 2, 4 on this side. So 1 is over here. Now next is 3, then 2, then 4. This is just now 2. Just for now to see if it starts. Now number 4. A bit odd. Okay, it should start. Now the intake. Again, I could do a different approach on the editing and do not show my mistakes, but my mistakes are what makes me learn and be better every day. Of course, mistakes are made. I'm sorry for that. The customer will not be charged for this extra time. You may say that makes part of it. Yes, it makes, but it was really a rookie mistake, and do not feel comfortable doing that. Was it that hard? Oh Jesus. Now assemble the front just to put the belts, just to put the belts for the water pump and whatnot. Run the car and see the actual behavior on the road. If I can gear it right, it does not seem all that bad. Not at all. So the idle is high, so the oil light is not on. Let me adjust the idle and see that. But with the new injectors and new spark plugs and whatnot, possibly the bad idle is solved actually. So that is good also. Here it is working. I already assembled here some, so the grill, the radiator, the air intake box and all of that. And I'm just running the car to see if anything happens. The idle is very nice. I suspect here that issue that the customer told me that the light was blinking, the oil light, the oil pressure light, it was because of a bad idle, because it's very common on these cars to do that. It was very common to do that. So the idle being so good now, I believe because of the spark plugs and the injectors. I believe now that the main issue disappeared. Now, why did the car stop on the way to the other workshop? I believe it was really one or two of the spark plugs that just went out, and with that some misfires and something, and associated with that the very low idle with the oil blinking. Maybe they well, just like me, did here a misdiagnosis on the engine, okay? But it is everything except this return line for the coolant. This one over here is cold, this one is hot, which means that this area over here has to be unclogged like I did on the other 33. I have a very long drill bit, very fine and long. I will remove here these two hoses and just pass it through by hand to take out here the debris, and then the water, the return water, now coolant, okay, and air can go into the reservoir. If it stays like this, it can create a symptom of high pressure on the system, and also maybe it can spill out some coolant. To the removal of the complete system of the coolant, you have two drain plugs on the bottom of this engine. I believe I did not show to you yet. I believe not. I did show you on my 75, on my 33, but mine has only one. These two ones, the 8 valves, have two, so one of each side. That way you will be able to remove all of the coolant. Yeah, okay. And on the 16 valve one, you have one plug, and the other one removing the water pump, it will come out the rest of it. So I will take that out, so I will unplug there that passageway for the throttle body, put the hood in, or the bonnet, or whatever you can call it, and just drive the car. If I see anything else to be concerned with, I will let you know, of course, but for now all seems to be in very good condition. The engine feels strong. The fan already kicked in like, I don't know, 10 times, and I just want to make sure everything is perfectly okay before going to the road and damage something. One thing I noticed also was the fluid for the brakes was very low, below the pickup tube over here for the clutch, and for that I had no clutch, but I was able to do a bleeding with my purge machine, my pressure, not vacuum, pressure purge machine. If you want to know how that's done, it is down on the description, so you to see, okay, on the playlist for brakes and or on the playlist for clutches and slave and master cylinders for the clutch pedal, okay? I believe that is it. I believe so. Let me just present you here with some accelerations on this beautiful engine. Something is passing over here, but not enough. Okay, the belts, the accessories belt are a little bit worn out. They make a little bit of noise, but nothing too much. And the timing belt seem recent, so no worries with that. The idle drops kind of normally, okay? It drops a bit. And when it drops and recovers, the light does not blink, at least for now, okay? Guys, if you are interested in 33s, 75s, on these older cars, I have playlists for them. I have playlists for my 33, and I have a playlist and more videos for my 75. If you are interested in more new cars, like not mine unfortunately, like this beautiful and awesome 3.2 166, I have videos for it and others. And I have for the Spiders, and I have for the Breras, for the Juliettas, for V6 turbo, non-turbo. I really do have a lot of stuff that can and will be useful for you. Don't forget that down in the description you also have links for helps for the channel. It will be very important to finalize here my 75. I have finally an engine block
over there to go to the machinist and get it back on the road, I hope. And I also need your help for my 33 because lack of time and lack of money, yeah, is getting these cars here for a long time, and I do need the space for work. Make sure to blow on this side to see if this part over here of the reservoir is not locked. It's not locked. Maybe it was a little bit. I will replace here this clamp. It was not doing anything. And on this side, even with a piece of wire, you can take care of this. Yeah, it's nice. It was not very bad, but still better safe than sorry, right? I really prefer the original clamps, but not having them, I have to do what I got. Not much force needed. Run it again to recheck your level, and that is it. So everything seems to be fine. This is a very loud car, so sorry for that. No lights are present. The power is very nice, very good. I just feel the steering wheel a little bit too twitchy. That normally means two things on a 33. One, bad alignment, and the other thing may be the struts of the front of the car wrongly assembled. I mean, the top mount of the struts, if they are 180 degrees off, the caster is wrong, and that makes the car very twitchy. I will take a look at that once I get home, okay? If that is the case, I can rotate the top mounts of the shock absorbers very easily, really, but then I always have to do an alignment, okay? Let's see. So no, this is the 4-nut one or 4-stud one, so there is no, well, it may happen, it be badly assembled, yes it can, but on the 3-stud one, you have two ways of mounting it, of this part of the tower, and in that case, once that happens, you imagine a line over here, from the top of the shock to the center of the wheel, and if you assemble it badly, the strut will be almost vertical, and that leads you to a very uncomfortable ride. You must have some caster over here to be able to drive it very much smoothly. So over here we may have a problem only with the alignment, so check that and it should be ready to go. Also, new tires on the front are required, okay? So that's it, guys. I believe everything is nice, and the pipe is much hotter now over here. The engine seems very healthy. I will talk to the customer if he wants to proceed with any more repairs like tires, alignment, oil change, for example. And again, I see you next time, guys. Bye.